Good morning. It is Tuesday, July 5th, 2011. Welcome to another edition of Take 5. Hopefully you had a great 4th of July. We are in Matthew chapter 27, verse 52. The tombs also were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. When the centurion and those who were with him, keeping watch over Jesus, saw the earthquake and what took place, they were filled with awe and said, "Truly, this was the Son of God." There also were many women there looking on from a distance who had followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering to him, among whom were Mary Magdalene and Mary the mother of James and Joseph and the mother of the sons of Zebedee. I think this is pretty cool stuff. We know that Jesus came to conquer death. That's one of the reasons he came. It's one of the things he did. Jesus has not yet risen from the dead in this passage, and yet others are starting to rise from the dead. It says the saints who've been dead, their tombs broke open and they came alive, and then later on they went into the city. Remember, Jesus was crucified outside of the city. But there was this great earthquake in the area, and then all these things happened. Well, the centurion, now this would be the guy that was actually in charge of the crucifixion. Now get this, he's not a Jew. He's the Roman soldier who gave the orders to the different soldiers on how this should come about. The certain ones that involved early in it that told him to carry his cross, and the ones that put the nails in his hands and feet, the ones that lifted him up. So he gave all those orders for those guys to do that. So he's just been watching the proceedings. He's seen his fellow soldiers gamble for Jesus's cloak and things like that. And he's watched everything. And his conclusion, after he sees the veil torn in two, well, I don't know if he saw that, but after he sees the earthquake and the rock split open, and some of the saints' bodies come out, he says, "Truly, this was the Son of God." And then it also mentions that a lot of the women who were close to Jesus were there. You don't see the men, though, do you? You do see in the book of John that the Apostle John was there, and Jesus basically turned his mother over to him. But you don't see the 12 disciples. Of course, Judas has killed himself, but you don't even see the other 11. But you see the women. But I want to go back just for a minute and just finish talking about that centurion. You know, that centurion hadn't been raised with the stories of David and Daniel and Joseph and the 3 Hebrew children and crossing the Red Sea with Moses and all of that. He hadn't heard those stories. He didn't know the 10 Commandments. He hadn't been raised in a home that honored God. Maybe they honored some kind of false god like Zeus or something like that. Or Apollos, I'm not sure which one was Roman or Greek. But nevertheless, he didn't have the faith that they should have had. And yet, we don't even know that he saw all the miracles that Jesus did, or even heard him teach. He just saw the events surrounding the cross, and that was enough to convince him that this was the Son of God. And yet some of you watching today, you've got an entire Bible full of miracles. You've got all of Jesus' teaching in here. And so much other evidence And yet your heart is so hard with sin, you can't even conclude that Jesus is the Son of God. Well, I challenge you today to come to that conclusion. If you haven't come to the conclusion, go all the way back to the beginning. Watch all my Take 5s, starting with the one that I did January 1st, and start reading this word that we have been teaching, that I've been teaching, and see if you don't get some faith that Jesus is the Son of God. For the rest of us who already believe, you're my brother, you're my sister, we're family, and keep on believing it no matter what's going on in your life. Jesus is the Son of God, which means He's Lord, which means He's Master, which means He's in control, which means He's God. So there's nothing to fear. Hey, come back tomorrow. Love it. This is exciting passages of Scripture we're dealing with on the next edition of Take 5.